Andrew Bailey and I are here this morning at the fabulous Ormiston Primary School to make announcements about property, but also to talk about how vote education is now the highest it's ever been. It's over $11 billion. Our budget for education directed resources to kids with special education needs, just over $40 million for that. And also we're targeting to those schools which have kids who come from long-term benefit dependent households. There's almost $400 million additional for the early childhood sector, reflecting how important we think that is. But the biggest chunk of vote education for 2016 is $883.5 million for property, for new schools, new classrooms, redevelopments and so forth. And so my colleague Nikki Kay is here this morning to talk specifically not only about Ormiston, but also how our government is getting ahead of what everyone in New Zealand knows is a huge growth trajectory for Auckland. So we're delighted to be here.
So what we've announced today is $150 million to ensure that we continue to get ahead of growth. That includes a range of new schools across Auckland, but also we are right here at Ormiston Primary School. We're announcing an expansion of the primary school. We'll be delivering Ormiston College next year. We have about 51 schools where we started quite an aggressive capital building program, and we're also pumping money in to ensure that they have the additional classrooms that they need. We've also announced another 18 classrooms across 3 schools, Mount Albert Grammar, Stanmore Bay School and Helensville School. And all up, you can see that the government is investing more than ever. We're close to $5 billion by midway through next year. We're adding the capacity to Auckland of 17,000 student places between 2014 and 2019. This is about ensuring that we have beautiful school buildings and new schools right across Auckland for a growing, successful city.
Is this a sign of how big Auckland has become? Are we trying to push people out of the main centre and encourage them to build communities like this where you can send your child to a functioning school that's...
You mentioned 4 new schools. They're all charter schools?
No, they're public-private partnerships. They're being delivered by public-private partnerships. So what that's about is we know that if we can do public-private partnerships, we'll not only save money that can be invested back in vote education, but also we're finding in a school like Hobsonville that we can free up principal and teachers' time to spend more time on learning. And so you've got QMU Primary School, we've got Flatbush South, we've got several other schools in Auckland that are being delivered by this PPP method, including Ormiston Junior College. And I think that the experience so far is pretty good, and it's going to be one of the delivery methods for new schools across New Zealand.
Incentives for teachers as well, coming out of university to stick in the job and carry on teaching?
Well, we're certainly working with the new Education Council. They were passed into law last year. One of their primary roles is to raise the status of the profession, to attract the best and the brightest into teaching, and to make sure that they're supported all through their career to continue to develop. So we put about $80 million a year into professional learning and development. We've introduced new exemplary teacher training courses at a number of our universities, and we are working with schools in Auckland to attract teachers to fill vacancies. And we know we've got a challenge, not just in Auckland, but across New Zealand in maths and science and technology. So we're working on all those levels.
Minister, if I can ask you about the Vanguard Military Academy. They've breached their contract on 2 occasions with expelling more students than they're allowed to, but also not accepting enrollments. What's being done about that?
Well, let's put that in the context that they are being overwhelmingly successful in their NCEA 2 passes. 4 students who have been expelled, excluded, not attending at other schools. So their success is exemplary in that regard. There have been some issues, but they've made it clear that they have high levels of expectation and discipline, and they need to role model that. I know that the Parliamentary Under-Secretary, David Seymour, with whom I work closely, is also talking to Vanguard about some of these challenges.
So, are there going to be any repercussions repercussions for, I mean, this is a breach of contract with the side of the government.
Yes, and we are aware of that, and we're talking with them about that. But I think we need to keep it in context here, is that it is a very, very, very small number of students against the large number that they keep there, that they get across the line. And those kids themselves are ones who have been excluded or expelled from other schools. So we try to take a well-rounded, balanced view of this.